So the subject of Daniel chapter 10 is actually it's mostly about Daniel praying about Israel and the things that were coming upon the world. He was really concerned about that, to the extent that he was actually fasting and praying and seeking knowledge from God, knowledge and understanding. So this actually happened in the third year of Cyrus. So if you go to verse 1 of Daniel chapter 10, it says, "In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. And the thing was true, but the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing and had understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled." So let me just stop there. And I just wanted to explain something which is at the beginning of verse 3. He says, "I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth." So there are some who say that Daniel was a vegetarian just because of the fact that he refused to defile himself. And this applies to his friends as well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which was their Babylonian names, because they refused to eat the king's food and asked for, I think it was Melza, asked if he could give them a pulse and water to drink instead. And they said, "You see, Daniel was and his friends were vegetarians." That's not correct. They ate that kind of food because they were going through training. Okay, here it says that Daniel didn't eat any pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. And when the King James says flesh, he's talking about meat. Okay, so the fact that he was fasting from eating meat means that Daniel also ate meat. But that's not even the main point I wanted to address. I just wanted to talk about that because just to prove that this whole thing about, oh, Daniel was a vegetarian and no, everybody should be a vegetarian. That's not true. Um, So once again, I won't be reading everything in the chapter because you can do that for yourselves. Okay, I'm just want to read the interesting parts of this verse, of this chapter rather. Uh, Verse 5 is, "Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen." Remember that Daniel was fasting and praying. Uh, Looked up and saw a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. Loins basically means the waist area. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Then I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength. Verse 9, "Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then I was in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words." Verse 13, "But the prince of the king of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the king of Persia." So where it mentions the prince of the kingdom of Persia, I believe that's talking about Satan. Okay, what you have to understand is that although in Revelation we read that the devil gave the Catholic Church his seat, power, and authority. So the devil actually is reigning from the Vatican, from Saint Peter's Basilica in Rome. That's where his seat is right now, or his headquarters, if we put it that way. But each of the kingdoms that we've read about so far, whether it be Babylon, Middle Persia, Greece, and Rome, Satan was actually working through those kingdoms to bring about what is actually about to come up on the earth right now, which is a new world order. So in which he is going to rule. But remember that Satan normally rules from behind the curtain, from the shadows. He normally pushes human beings to the front through various organizations to behave to act like they are the ones who are pulling the strings here on this earth, but it's actually the devil. So here when it talks about the prince of the kingdom of Persia, is talking. I believe he's talking about the devil. It says withstood me. So if this was an angel that was sent to Daniel to help him understand and to give him knowledge of what was coming upon the earth and what was going to happen to God's people. So this cannot be talking about a human being. An angel can easily overcome a human being, but here it says that the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me. And it says 1 and 20 days. That's 21 days, okay? But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Michael, if you look up if you go to the Strong's Concordance and look up what the word Michael means, bearing in mind that in the Bible, names denote character. It says one who is like God. Okay, one who is like God. The only one who is like God is the Son of God. There are many Christians who believe that this is talking about Jesus. Okay, so Daniel chapter 10 is actually not a very long chapter. So, but the very important thing that we need to remember is that when the Holy Scriptures were written, they didn't have any chapters or verses. So Daniel chapter 10 and Daniel chapter 11 are actually one and the same thing. Basically, they were written at the same time, I believe. There were no chapters; they were not broken up the way they are. In fact, if you read the first verse in Daniel chapter 11 starts off by saying, "Also, I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him." It reads like a continuation of Daniel chapter 10. So the most important thing is we need to understand about Daniel chapter 10 is that Daniel was praying to God so that God could give him wisdom and understanding and knowledge about what was going to happen to the nation of Israel, or the tribes of Israel that were left at that time, and what was coming upon the earth. And then this angel that came to Daniel says, "Now," this is verse 14, now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the last days." Exactly like what I said, for yet the vision is for many days. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and I became dumb. And behold, one like the similitude of the sons of men touched my lips. Then I opened my mouth and spake and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength. Um, just jumping on to verse 18. Then there came again and touched me one like the appearance of a man, and he strengthened me and said, O man greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened and said, Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then he said, Knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? And now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. Like I said, I believe the prince of Persia is the devil. And when I am gone, lo, the prince of Grecia shall come. Like I was saying, that each of these succeeding kingdoms were basically being used by Satan. Satan has always wanted to gain complete and utter control of this world, and he does it through various kingdoms. Okay, just like today, during right now, Satan is working through the Catholic Church, through the Vatican, which is the smallest country in the world. I believe I might be mistaken, but yeah, it's one of the smallest countries in the world. And the Vatican is working through through the United States, of which the United States is being used to fight wars on behalf of the papacy, and obviously works through the city of London, which is also a city-state. All these three that I've mentioned have got city-states in them, okay? Washington, D.C., the Vatican, and the city of London. Those are the three most powerful city-states in the world, with the city of London running banking and the Vatican running religion. But of course, they're overall in charge of what goes on around the world, but they hide behind front organizations. So if you read verse 21 as well, so we're still in Daniel chapter 10, verse 21. But I will shew thee that which is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that withholdeth. So sorry, that holdeth with me in these things, but Michael, your prince. And then verse 1 of verse 11 goes on to say, also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. So you can tell by the way it's written that it's supposed to be continuous. There was no break between Daniel chapter 10 and Daniel chapter 11. It's all talking about the same thing. And Daniel chapter 10 actually seems incomplete if you don't carry reading on. It's where Daniel was seeking understanding and knowledge about what was coming, what was going to happen to God's people at that time, and what was coming upon the world. And we get the answer in chapter 11. Chapter 11 is one of the most detailed prophetic chapters that talks about in Daniel's time is things that were coming in the future. It's very, very detailed. It doesn't necessarily mention names, but it gives characteristics of certain individuals who are going to come in the future. Such as Cleopatra, we believe that it's talking about Cleopatra, General Pompey. It talks about the wars between, Xerxes as well, King Ahasuerus. All these we believe are mentioned not necessarily by name, but by giving characteristics. It talks about the king of the north and the king of the south, which was what the breakup of the Greek Empire. That's what he's talking about. So yeah, so that's Daniel 10 basically. Daniel 10 is almost like an introduction to Daniel chapter 11. So yeah, I'll end the video there, and I'll see you in the next video.